Okay, in this video we're going to take a look at the SoundBoard app that we've been working on. A lot of this code is similar to what's in the example in the book, but a couple small changes. I also don't have the animation in mind, but the point of this video is to just kind of go over how to set up a program, how to make sure all of your supplemental files are there, and how to get it ready to turn in. So in this particular assignment, we're making a soundboard. It's a simple app that we press some buttons and it plays sound clips. There's hundreds of these apps in the App Store. Pretty easy to get going because once you get one button working, the rest are very similar. So I'm just going to kind of go through my program here quickly and just kind of look at it. We've already established that Corona runs a program from the top down, from line 1 through line however many we have. I think I have 98 in this particular example. And that includes blank spaces, but obviously there's nothing there. That's just for aesthetics and helping to keep myself organized when I look at my code. So here I start. The first couple lines are just set up the look of the screen on my phone or tablet, whichever I'm coding for. This hide the status bar line is something that can be included in pretty much every program we do, which is exactly what it says. It gets rid of the status bar on our screen, letting us utilize the full screen. And we're activating multi-touch. All mobile devices have the ability to register multiple touches at the same time. We can't really do that in the simulator, but it is a line of code that will need to be there should we port this to an actual device. These next two lines of code reset my anchor points back to the original upper left hand corner for placing objects. Not necessary, but again, it's a personal preference. I prefer my settings that way. Then I'm going to load in a variable. In this case, the variable's value is an image. Okay, this is going to be one of my background images here. It's a picture called star.png. Notice that that is in quotation marks, and then the location on the screen is set there. I'm also going to load in a variable called bg music, which is going to be my background music, and I've set this to play immediately. This is a rather long sound clip, so I don't need to put loops or anything in it. And it's just going to, it's right here, years through unfairly are loading in my sound files. Notice they all use the audio.loadSound command. Fairly straightforward. Capitalization does matter, so the S needs to be capital, everything else is lowercase. The name of the sound file that we're going to load in quotes. And I move down to the next section. Here are all my buttons. Again, name of the buttons in quotes, capitalization matters. Now, on the Windows side of Corona, it has a little more leeway in the simulator, and sometimes it will load if we don't capitalize correctly, but you can't count on that. And just because it works in the Windows simulator doesn't mean it will work when we create a build that will play on a specific mobile device. So we need to make sure that we are coding it correctly. Using the proper syntax, even if it works. Now, when I grade these, I won't take off points if you have the capitalization wrong and your program still works. But when we go to build these near the end of the course, you'll get a lot of unexpected errors if you continue this practice. And those are really hard to debug and figure out when you get down to the final build. Okay, so following all these variables, then I've created functions. And again, all these functions are pretty much exactly the same. Now, I've varied my code just slightly to show you two ways here that will still work exactly the same. Okay, because these functions that we're creating are events, it's a click event. We're going to click on the button to activate it. We have to tell it at the end of our function declaration that it is an event, and we can either do that with the parentheses lowercase e or actually type out the whole word event. So you see here my function play button 11, just an e, function play button 21 has the whole word event, and they will work the same. What are they going to do? Very simply, audio.play and the name of the variable that I created up here for that particular function. I have 10 functions, one for each button. If I have a function and I want the button to be activated, the next thing I need is a listener for each button. And the listeners always come at the very end of our program. So here are my listeners that activate the buttons that I have. Each one has the same format: the name of the button, colon, the command add event listener, parentheses, what type of event. Now in this case they're all a tap event because I'm going to be clicking, and if this is on a mobile device I'll be tapping with my finger to activate them. And then the name of the function that I'm calling here at the end. Notice that function names do not require quotations. They must be exactly. So if I have a function here, I have the word power1, I've got to call that. And one of the nice things about Notepad++, which you just see on my screen here, is that when I highlighted the name in my listener, it automatically highlighted the name in the corresponding function. That's one way that I can help debug my programs. If I highlight the names in my function calls here, the program should highlight the corresponding function name in my function code. It also puts these symbols that links the functions together, showing me that I've got the opening with the word local and the end of the function with the word end. I can collapse them if I wish to save space, but that is it. Notice there are no semicolons on the end of any of these lines or anything like that. Lua is a pretty forgiving language. So if I open the simulator and take a look at what this is going to look like, there's my program. Okay, nothing earth-shattering. I just put in the background graphic, to kind of show the theme. I'm not sure if this will come through on the video or not, but if I press a button, it plays a sound. Okay, this power button, which if I were going to use this I would edit better, but for the sake of the example, this one stops the background music from playing. Okay, and that's called my power button. That's also my power 11 function, and I use the audio stop command. Now, by not putting anything in the parentheses, this button will stop all audio, including the quotes that are coming from my other buttons. If I want to stop something specific, I put the name of that sound inside the parentheses. Okay, this one's fairly straightforward. And again, most of this code is in the text. I want to just point out one thing. Names should be unique. If I call a button the years button, like I have here, that should be the only thing in my program that has that name. Again, on the Windows side, sometimes if I have a function that has the same name as a button or something else, sometimes it will work. But again, when we get to the end, when we try to package our program for use on a mobile device, then it's not going to. And nothing is more frustrating when your program's working when you test it in the simulator and then make a build and it doesn't work, because it's not going to kick out an error and tell you immediately what's wrong. We've got to figure that out ourselves. Okay, so again, keep your names unique. If you call a button by a particular name, don't name the function the same thing. It can be something similar, but not exactly the same. Alright, that's it for this short video. As always, if you have questions or problems about any assignments or things, shoot me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can and we'll try to figure it out. Alright, happy coding.